YouTube, Lyricide17 here, but you can just call me Travis, and welcome back for another video. This one I'm hoping will be a little fun, even if the fun is only just for me. As you can see in the title, this is around the world with NewRetroWave Records, an awesome synthwave record, pretty much I would say the premier synthwave record label. You know, out of all the synthwave record labels, they're pretty much like, you know, the top dog. You know, the only one I really would maybe say rivals it is Blood Music, who I think actually is not even releasing new music as far as I'm understanding. The only reason I would even say that they rival NewRetroWave is that they've had some big releases. Obviously, they had Perturbator on their roster. I'm not really sure, but I think most of the Ghost material also was released on Blood Music. Anyway, Blood Music has released a lot of prominent records in the synthwave movement, especially sort of the dark synthy stuff, maybe, and stuff that's appealed to me. But anyway, NewRetroWave, especially over the last few years, has really just like zoomed onto the stage and just taken over. I think I follow their Instagram account. I think like their last, I couldn't tell you if it's actually their last few or just a number of the last few, but regardless, recently they've even had records that were like popping up on the Billboard charts. So, you know, not that that necessarily speaks to quality of music, but it definitely at least speaks to people are listening to the music. So that's cool. As someone who loves synthwave and has just been listening to a ton of stuff, you know, it's kind of cool to just see the people at large, at least in terms of the United States, listening to synthwave. So anyway, a few months back, I had a big personal loss in my life, and sort of a drunken retail therapy moment. Put in a big order with NewRetroWave Records. One of the items was a pre-order, which was due to come out actually in September. And this is an ultimate case of you know, you take the risk when you do an order with the pre-order, because you know, obviously I assumed, oh, you know, I'll get it, you know, in the September when the September album came out. Did not happen. That wasn't the case. I only just actually got it this last weekend. Yeah, got it this last weekend. You know, I bought it on Bandcamp, so I've had the digital tracks for all this stuff. You know, since July. So you know, I've at least been listening to the music, maybe not the whole time, like constantly, but you know, I've listened to the music. So that's always the one thing that I really love about Bandcamp is the regardless of how long the physical items, because I pretty much almost only buy physical items on Bandcamp. So outside of the time that it takes the physical stuff to actually arrive at my home, at least I get the digital tracks right away. I can listen to it, and anyway, I've listened to this stuff quite a bit. So it wasn't, you know, obviously you want to get your stuff as soon as you can, but anyway, got it this last weekend, and yeah, I'm gonna share it with you now. There's actually one release in here that wasn't a part of that one mass order. But I ordered, it was like the next day or like 2 days after, so I sort of just included it because I also just got it recently. So anyway, by the way, in the background we're just listening to like a random playlist of stuff that's that I'm going to show you here. Everything you hear in the background comes from one of the releases that I'm going to show in this video. Alright, so anyway, like the title of the video says, Around the World with NewRetroWave. I just happened to notice that everything that I was going to show, first off, the one thing I thought was cool was that none of it came from the United States. Not that I necessarily like have an issue with listening to stuff outside of the United States. There's tons of stuff, as all metal fans probably have no really issue with that. You know, anyway, I thought it was cool anyway that because I think it's 7 or 8 artists, I think, in total, and none of them from the United States. So that I thought was cool. But then also, I would say also like 10 times. I also noticed that several of the artists came from countries that definitely, at least for me personally, I'm not listening to a ton of artists from these countries. So I thought it was kind of cool, like not only is because I'll round this back to the label NewRetroWave. This is the preeminent synthwave record label, and they're releasing stuff from all over the world. Countries that are not your typical, at least for me again. And I think and to be honest, I think a lot of you too. Not stuff countries you're typically listening to music from. So that's awesome. And anyway, I just thought it would be kind of fun to just kind of do like I said, around the world with NewRetroWave, and yeah. So without further ado, let's get into the first release. And this one, I'm not sure if it's my favorite, but it might be. We're gonna start off in the country of India. Off the top of my head, I can't actually think of another artist I listen to from India. There might be another one that I'm not thinking of, but chances are there isn't another one. So this might be the first. Anyway, again, most of the stuff's going to be synthwave or synthwave oriented. So if that's not your bag, I'm sorry I've rambled for like 6.5 minutes without you realizing that I'm going to talk about synthwave only in this video. But that's how it's going to go. All right, first up, from India, like I said, this is Dreamhour with, I'm going to assume it's pronounced VLLNS, as there's no vowels used in the title. It's just the VLLNS. Anyway, like I said, from India, this is pretty synth-wavy. Kind of has a kind of a synth-pop sort of directional, we'll say. There's like vocals on a few songs. Awesome usage of like, I'm not hits, but that's what I always hear. It's what I remember what they're called on like music programs and keyboards and stuff. Hits where it's like like it's everything hitting at the same time. I love that shit, and they use it awesomely on this album. Kind of has a movie sort of vibe here going with the packaging. As you can see with the PG-13 and the VHS logos used here. And that's sort of also presented in terms of there's sort of some thematic music that's sort of reoccurs throughout the album, which I actually sort of like a lot. Anyway, I'll also beyond the fact that this album cover just actually rules. This came out, I think this is a 2018 release. I'm not sure. Whenever this first came out, I remember listening to it and being like, yeah, this is pretty good. But for whatever reason, I didn't end up buying it. Anyway, so when I decided to do this order, I was like, oh, obviously I have to pick this up because I think it's just on black, so nothing too fancy going on there. But yeah, I just this is probably more so than all the other records. Once I bought it and we're listening to the digital tracks of it, it really clicked for me, and I ended up liking this one a lot. Really catchy, just really cool stuff. I don't know. I want to listen to more by these guys, but this one's pretty cool by itself. VLLNS by Dreamhour from India. Alright, next up, we'll go from India. Now we're in Sweden. And that brings us to, and then we're going to show all three kind of mediums in this video. Here's our CD, Robert Parker, End of the Night. Like I said, he's from Sweden. This is a 2018 release. This is definitely much more on the synth-pop end of things. A lot more features, got some vocals going on. Just awesome, good, catchy stuff. Just, you know, I really like this a lot. And yeah, Robert Parker, End of the Night. So if you enjoy more of the, if you like synthwave at all, but also you know, if you enjoy it to be a little more poppy, then I definitely recommend Robert Parker's End of the Night here. Pretty good stuff. I like it a lot. Next up, we're going from Sweden and we're heading to Ukraine, and that brings us to the artist Earmake. Not my favorite artist name, but that's how it is. This album is called Parallels. If you've not been keeping track of the what do you want to call it, the tropes or the motifs that are being reused in synthwave, it typically has been you know, fast cars, stuff like that was probably the most common. We're now into space. Earmake is on the boat in terms of that. Anyway, I picked up the cassette version of this one. This is one of the ones I would say generally in general of this order, I sort of took lots of risks with everything that I bought. I wouldn't say there was actually any release of all of these where I was like, oh man, I really like this one and I really want this to be part of my order. They all were sort of like either like, this is pretty good, or like even like there's like a song I like, but like the rest of it's kind of meh for me. And this Earmake was definitely much more on the latter version of that. Comes on this clear purple cassette with the label. Yeah, this album in particular, again out of the Ukraine. This 2019 release, and the first track, Regalis, I think is what it's called. Regalis. I'm not sure the exact pronunciation. I can read it there. I really like that track a lot, but I don't know, sort of coming into the rest of it, I was kind of like meh about it. But like I said, I was sort of in a we'll say a vulnerable mood at that point, so I just kind of fuck it, put it on the order, and cassette version. We'll see what happens. And I ended up liking this one a lot. Definitely has much more kind of like vapor wavy kind of things going on, which I don't typically listen to, but just having it on this one particular release was kind of a cool thing. So that was cool. Actually, even the last track has the parenthetical of vapor, and that track like is by far the most vapor wavy. Just like a lot of the synthwave I listen to is like really like super energetic, and that's what I like a lot. In particular, for example, last year's Midnight Danger, which was a #2 album of the year, also released on NewRetroWave. That shit is just like hyper energy to the max, and that's one of the things I not only like just in music, sort of in generally, but specifically definitely in my synthwave. I really like the energy and the upbeatness that I get from that. So anyway, it was kind of cool to get a different thing here with the album Parallels by Earmake. So yeah, good stuff. Alright, next up, and this actually I actually already purchased this from NewRetroWave. I bought the cassette version of it, but I actually really liked the album a lot, and I was kind of like, you know what? Fuck it, let's buy the vinyl version for I have no reason, I have no idea why, but anyway, 2019 release. We're going from the Ukraine to Serbia on this one. This is Isidor with Avalon, Quest, awesome. album art on this one. Anyway, like I said, 2019 release, Serbia, synthwave. This one is really cool. This one actually has sort of the opposite problem that Earmake had for me. Actually, I feel like the first track, or the first couple tracks in this one kind of turned me off initially whenever I tried to listen to this one. And so whenever I actually got past those tracks and listened to the rest of it, I was like, yes, this album actually is fantastic. So yeah, eventually I picked it up on cassette, and like I said, added it to this order as well. Yeah, I think this is actually the only one that I have that comes on a non-black color. This one kind of comes on a orange, I think just white splatter. Sort of has a yellowish look to it too, but I think that's just the white to orange. Anyway, the one thing I thought was interesting when I looked at this one, let's flip so you can see the labels. On this side, it has sort of like the splatter comes out from the center, so I thought that was cool looking. But I noticed on the back side that actually the splatter is like just not in the center. On this one, it's only on the outside. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know, maybe that happens all the time. I don't buy records as much, but I really had maybe I even have records myself that are like this, but I haven't really noticed it. So anyway, I thought that was kind of just cool to notice. Anyway, this is a cool one. This is probably around on the level with the Dreamhour VLLNS record as probably my favorite material out of all this stuff. Just really good, catchy stuff. Yeah, Orion Blade, Crystal City, Shadow Road. Those tracks are awesome. Even the last two, Gates of Chaos, Aurora Virus, also good tracks. But just really the whole thing. Like I said, even the first couple tracks, I've sort of, I wouldn't say come around on like where I like love them a lot or anything, but they don't necessarily hinder me, maybe like they used to. But anyway, the rest of it, as the kids would say, slaps. And yeah, killer stuff out of Serbia. Definitely, I don't think there is a single artist outside of Isidor that I'm listening to in Serbia. If there is, I've forgotten it. So again, cool stuff. NewRetroWave just releasing stuff all over the world. Isidor out of Serbia, good example of that here with Avalon Quest. Next one up, we're going from Serbia to England for a couple actually. First one up here, I'm going to show you. This is actually the culprit in question. It was due out in September that delayed the order. I think, or at least, I don't know if it was more than one, but if there was one, it was this one. Just missed out on picking it up on a beautiful yellow. Again, I think it's on black. I'll check for sure. But anyway, this is a 2019 release. This is a Thanks in Advance by Ollie, Wride. This is a this is definitely much more on the synth pop ends of things. Probably the closest record that's like would be onto the like kind of more on the pop ends of things. Anyway, this is his first solo record. He's in a to be honest, I'm not really actually familiar with his other act. I think it's called FM84, I believe is the name of it. Anyway, like I said, this is his debut solo album. Pretty poppy. I like it. His vocals are really good. He's a great singer. Comes on a gatefold here with the lyrics and some credits on the inside. NewRetroWave always has good quality products. Back here with our guy Ollie looking in the rearview mirror. Anyway, good stuff. Like I said, this is definitely more poppy than a lot of the other stuff, which maybe you enjoy. Yeah, it's just on black. But yeah, definitely if you're into that kind of thing, then definitely give this one a go. You might like it. I think it's pretty good. It's probably Maybe my least favorite of all the things that I show here today. Oh yeah, I also got a it's like stuck to the side. Static electricity. Assigned, I'm not even sure what you call this. We'll just call it an insert, signed insert. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, if you're into, you know, the more poppy ends of things, you know, give this one a go. You might be into it. I think it's pretty cool. No complaints here. Thanks in advance from Ollie, Wride. Said, we're sticking to England here, 2 in a row. This is the one that actually wasn't a part of this main order. I think it was. I don't remember. It was either like the next day or like 2 days later. This one popped out. I actually almost like bought like 4 different versions of it because I'm the same person. I was luckily able to talk myself into only buying one. Anyway, absolutely beautiful jacket here. This is a Wolf Club with Frontiers. Check this shit out, man. Anyway, again, synthwave, definitely, again, more onto the, this one's a gatefold as well. This one is definitely more on the, again, synth-pop ends of things. There's lots more vocals on this one than some of the other stuff. But it's good stuff. The song, Electrify, I submitted, I was recently just finished up when I'm doing the music leagues, finished up a league where we were doing, submitting songs for movie genres, and submitted Electrify for romance genre. Did pretty good, I think. Actually, I don't remember exactly how well I did, but yeah, I think I did pretty well with that track. I actually ended up getting 3rd place overall in that league. Traditionally, I'm pretty terrible at the music league. Get closer to last place, then I do 3rd place. Something about the movie genres really clicked, I think, for me. And anyway, I was able to pull out top 3. So shout out to myself. Anyway. Good catchy stuff here with Wolf Club. I've been familiar with this artist for a bit. Never was able to, or never did, just pick up any of their releases for whatever reason. And yeah, so actually no, this one's in color too. So when this one popped up, I jumped at it, and yeah, now it's in my possession. It comes on a beautiful, as they call it, sexy pink color. Definitely is kind of a. What color pink you call this? Baby pink? I don't know. It looks good. We'll call it sexy pink like they do. Good stuff. They also came on like purple, and then there was like a purple and pink cassette also, which is why I was like, ooh, look at all this beautiful stuff. So that's why I almost bought it all. Like I said, I was luckily able to talk myself into only buying 1 copy, which I'm happy that I did. So anyway. Like I said again, if you're into the synth poppy kind of stuff, maybe give this one a go. And if not, just go to the page and look at the beautiful album art. All right, Wolf Club, Frontiers, good stuff. Last one, but certainly not least, we're going from England. We're going back to the mainland, where France is. This is, I'm not sure, Yota. I'm gonna go with how you pronounce it, Y-O-T-A. Strangers on Film. Got it on cassette here. This is another one where I was sort of meh about it after I'd listened to it maybe once or twice, and sort of took a chance on it that I would end up liking it. And yeah, I ended up liking it a lot more after listening to it a few times. Comes on a clear cassette with a I guess it's album art labels. This is sort of sort of like how the Earmake is sort of a little more laid back. This one is super chill. Yeah, just because the 2019 release, if I didn't say that. It has some vocals on it, good stuff. Has a couple remixes on the end. Yeah, just I sort of enjoy the what's the word I want? You know, like I said, like I listen to mostly upbeat synthwave. I sort of enjoy having something different, and this really super chill album, Strangers on Film from Yota. Sort of you know, what's the appetite? Is that the right phrase? Anyway, I like it. It's good. If you're into that kind of thing, check it out. Yeah. Strangers on Film by Yota. Alright, there we go. That's my Around the World tour with you on the NewRetroWave Records plane, if you will. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun thinking about this one a little bit, so hopefully it was enjoyable to you as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you're familiar with any of the artists that I talked about here today, or NewRetroWave Records or whatever, let me know how you feel about it. Otherwise, have a fantastic day.